Hello, everyone. Welcome to SIIA TechChats. Joining me this week is Erich Litch, Chief Revenue Officer at 2Checkout. 2Checkout is a global e-commerce and payment provider. Erich, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us.
Thank you for having me.
Sure, let's jump right in. So, as our world and the software market in particular moves towards subscriptions or continues to shift towards subscriptions, how important is it for companies to support a variety of payment methods as well as retention tools, really?
Well, if you have a subscription business, two of the key things you're tracking are your acquisition and your retention, your churn of your customers. So on the acquisition front, we find having local payment methods and supporting a wide variety of payment methods is really critical to maximizing your conversion rates. People tend to really like to use certain types of payments, and if they're not able to use those, then they just abandon the purchase process entirely. And so we specialize in offering local payment methods all over the world, and find that even just adding another local payment option can boost your conversion rate, sometimes very, very meaningfully. So we think it's always important that you stay on top of which payment methods you're offering, in which regions, and what your conversion rates are in various parts of the world. So payment methods will continue to be important, and new payment methods come on the market, every year. We're getting some very minor requests for supporting of, like, let's say, cryptocurrencies as a form of payment. But anyway, it just goes to show you that, we're not done in terms of payment methods that consumers will use and demand. From a retention perspective, in the subscription business, this is really, really critical. If you can just modify your churn rate a slight bit, it can mean significant increases in your customer lifetime value and your overall revenue. So making sure that you have the right tools to prevent, for example, involuntary churn, where your customer didn't actually want to stop subscribing, but because their card changed or they lost it or something happened with regard to their payment vehicle, the transaction fails and it doesn't authorize. So account updaters at the basic level, making sure that you can use those. But also you have to go beyond that and have, proprietary sort of retry logic and different things you can do to get that transaction to authorize. And then let's say it fails to authorize even then, having the right tools to do dunning management and follow up with the customer, the ability to use marketing tools to be able to present special offers for them to come back in and renew, and making sure that they can come in and update their new payment methods that they might want to change to. All of those kinds of tools are really, really critical in the subscription economy.
Now, in the online payment gateway industry, there's definitely been steady growth, and I think I saw analysts believe that by 2022, the industry market size will be over $3 billion. So, and you even, hit on, some clients asking you for new payment methods. What's driving this growth?
Primarily, it's the growth in electronic payments. So there's obviously a lot of transaction growth online and mobile. All of those leverage the payment gateways. And so you have a real explosive growth in electronic transactions. They're primarily driven through the payment gateways. So we see that trend just doing nothing but continuing. So there's just a lot more transactions occurring electronically, and so that trend will continue at least for the next 10 to 20 years, and so that'll drive a lot of growth in payment gateways. You're also seeing different kinds of gateways with different add-on services, sort of the core basic payment gateways kind of becoming somewhat of a commodity. What really separates one from another really has to do with the services that can wrap around that particular gateway, especially services that are specifically tailored to your type of business. So we obviously specialize pretty heavily in software and subscription companies. So we have a lot of optimizations related to those kinds of companies, but there are others that might even be specifically tailored to, for example, grocery chains or retail stores and things like that. So we don't specialize in that, but there are gateway providers out there that do. Those value-added services might be things like helping track special loyalty reward programs and having special offers related to those kinds of things, all the way, to other types like the things that we do around subscription management and all the things we do around that, and e-commerce in general and marketing.
So for the software businesses, what are some of the real global digital commerce trends that they really need to pay attention to, coming, say, in the next year or two?
I'd say there's a couple. One trend, and it's not new, but it's really taking off and growing steam and momentum, is mobile. The number of transactions originating on mobile devices is growing rapidly. So definitely need to make sure that they understand how that purchase experience and all of their interaction capabilities are on a mobile device. The second one is we do continue to see the growth in payment methods like wallets. So Apple Pay, Amazon Pay, Google Wallet. Obviously, you've got PayPal, which has been around for a long time, but these alternate wallets are growing rapidly, and so we see that as a trend that we think will continue. And then last is really around regulation, and there's of course privacy regulations like GDPR and others out there. We think other countries and regions will follow suit with similar types of regulations, but then there's also a lot of changes going on right now around taxes and compliance with taxes in various regions and countries all over the world, changing how they view different types of transactions, and it can get quite complex. So that's something we also see as a trend.
So you mentioned GDPR, and obviously that's a big topic on everybody's mind. And you even mentioned that we'll probably see some other countries putting in regulations as well. So how important is it for companies to really take all of that into consideration, and when they're partnering with other companies, how, making sure that they're choosing the trusted partners out there?
It's really critical because, regardless of whether you use a partner, you're in the end responsible for what you do with your customers and their data. So it's important to make sure that you do the appropriate diligence on a partner to make sure that they've got the right programs in place, that they've got the right operational maturity to constantly keep abreast of everything going on where you're doing business or where they're doing business for you. So that's really, really important. This is, we're dealing with people's money, their personal information, and so there's a lot of liability associated with it. And so it's extremely important that you make sure that your partners are mature, they have robust compliance programs in place. So yeah, critical.
Erich, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing some of your insights. For more information on 2Checkout, you can be sure to visit their website, and we will be back here next week for SIIA Tech Chats.